Yes, we can start the stream now, even though I am still totally lost. Well, welcome everybody who is watching. This is Nice Micro and we are trying to figure out something in Godot. In the meantime, to make things work, I guess. And so I've spent some time, spent more than an hour trying to figure out what is the situation here. So this is what I came up with at the moment. This nice little drawing shows us how the currently implemented kind of dummy task works. So I think what I'm trying to do here is to figure out, and welcome Kakmikarp to the stream. So I'm trying to, I set up a different thing in YouTube which is supposed to be like a short reaction time and a short, what is it called, the short response time, I guess, or short, I don't know, delay time. Yeah, so that's what hopefully I can react to the community's suggestions faster, and I should what is this? Share this link on my Mastodon also, and let me do that right now off screen, because why not? And we'll see. So what I'm trying to figure out here is very, very simple. No, not actually very, very complicated. So what I'm trying to figure out is if I go back to the map here. So as you can see, we have the map, and we have this task, this system testing thing here, which is basically a dummy task which we implemented in the very beginning as kind of figuring out how to do things. And how to do things is rather peculiar. So we have this object, and I just really hope that everything looks fine there. So I try to enlarge the screen here, so even if you are you don't have to watch it full screen on a TV to see every detail. So in the left hand side we can take a look at our scene, and what we have is this task test, which is basically a interact point just renamed, and the interact point has its own little short script which uses this ready function, which is called when the whole map is created in the game, and the get interact data and the interact. So this one is just gathers some data, and this is what actually does the interaction. And you can see that we have this interact resource thing here, which is an exported variable. That means the exported variable just means that once we are here and we click on this thing, this exported variable appears here on the right hand side as the script variables, and you can see that the interact resource is a resource which contains another resource which is a UI resource. So this is a very good job by the second Real Zero. He did it sometime, maybe 1 year ago, and well, now I'm trying to follow in his footsteps and make things work. And these resources have what does it have? So first of all, this is how it looks if I just open it. So these resources contain a lot of scripts and data about what should happen to the task once we start interacting with it. So this interact point clock set task is the name of the task, and then the UI resource contains the UI name that should be opened, and there is a output map interactions. That's also another it is another resource that is an interaction with the map, because there is like this text box here which contains this number. This is dependent on what happens in the task, and this is what I try to copy with my cabinet over there. So in the cabinet case, what we should do is also have the interact point and interact UI, and this UI is called the cabinet instead of the, what was this? This was called the interact point clock set. It's just called clock set, and so this one is just called chemical cabinet, and this output also should have a map interaction, which we will try to use to open the doors of this cabinet, just like we open it in the task screen that we did last time. And that is the very high level overview of these things, and the low level overview is what I'm trying to figure out in this very, very ugly graph. And so what happens is when we initialize the resource, that will basically call the init resource function. So this is when the map is loaded. It initializes this interact point, and that initializes the task, and it saves the interact point what is this interact point attached to, and registers itself at the task manager. The task manager is a global script, so you can, if you interact with the task manager, what it stores is going to be everywhere. And so once this task is registered, the task manager gets the data from the resource, so it calls back to this resource with the get task data. And I use the italic font here to represent the functions that are coming from this interact task, and this is not italic, which has been overwritten by the custom script for the specific task. And so this will again generate the task data and get the task data. So how this works is at this point, what I understand is, if we go back to the task set here, so let me just open the scripts. We have this interact point.gd, which is the interact point, and the interact task.gd is the script for the resource. And you can see this is like a very, very long script. So it's it takes some time to understand what's going on here. So for example, this is the init resource function that I just talked about there. And this will call the init resource underscore init resource, which can be overwritten. And this I don't know why it's called camcab. This is not the camcab. This is, you can see that this is interact point clock set.tres. What we are looking at here. And this one overrides some of the interact task functions. So this is why it's kind of complicated, because the get task data, the underscore get task data is overwritten. Get generate player task. So these are all overwritten here. So that's what I symbolize by this. But the generate task data is not overwritten, I think. So we don't have a generate task data in here. Well, let me search. Yeah, we don't have it here, so that one is coming from the original one. So gen task data, it's here, but it doesn't do anything. It just returns an empty directory. Very, very confusing because of this inheritance thing. It's kind of complicated to keep track of what's doing what. And so what I was just looking at, what this get interact data, while by the time I just couldn't postpone the start of this stream anymore, is that point where I was looking at this generate interact data. And so if you have actually, as a viewer, cloned the repository from my side, or maybe so this one is actually, you can just take a look, because this one I did not modify. So if you just take a look at the main, you can maybe follow along and try to figure out it with me, or just look at my screen and look at what I'm looking at. Maybe you can see something I don't see, which might happen. So this get interact data gets the interact data reference from the resource and sets display text and interact node. That's what does it mean? Let's go back to interact point.gd. Is that gets the interact resource with the get interact data, and then interact data display text equals display text. So I don't think, yeah, that's just getting it from whatever is set up in the editor, I think. And then we add the interact node, which is this node itself is added to that, and then we return the interact data. So this one, this get interact data, this will be called by other places, I guess, to provide this thing back. But we'll have to figure out what calls the get interact data. I would guess that is going to be, yeah, I have a hunch what it might be. But anyway, so what I should draw up in that this calls the interact resource says get interact data function. So I should just add an arrow here that this, well, maybe it should be a double-sided arrow because we get back the information and then we send the information to anything that is looking for it. And yeah, this is not really good because no, the two-sided arrow is very confusing. Let me just use the one-sided arrow from whatever calls is going to be the no arrow, and whatever is called is going to be the arrow, so we can see it. No, let's use the other arrow type, sorry. And the get interact data, what was I doing? So the get interact data, no, yeah, sorry. This is the get interact data, and the get interact data will be calling back to the get task data if I am not mistaken. So we are looking for the get interact data. Get interact data is somewhere here. Yeah, that was what I was looking for. Get interact data. Yeah, get interact data is basically just going to run get task data plus some additional checks here, which I don't really get why it's, well, honestly, why it's done like this at the moment, but we will have to trust the wisdom of Second Real Zero who did this. And then interact which will initiate the interaction. That's what else, the other thing we have to look at, and that we'll call the interact function from the resource, which interact, it's not overwritten here, so it will be in the original one in the interact task. Hopefully we can find it. Yeah, interact. Okay, so we have the interact function here. It also performs the checks whether it's attached to anything, pushes error if not, if the player is assigned, and is task completed. So it checks whether the player is assigned to this task and whether the task is already completed, and if if player is not assigned or the task is already completed, in these cases we should not do anything. That's right, and then it will run the interact, which I think is not overwritten here, right? Because then, yeah, that would have seen something, so there's nothing going to happen, and then we will invoke the UI resource interact. So this is how the UI resource is going to come into play, I guess. Okay, let me add this to my drawing first. So we have the interact So the function interact here is referencing the interact resources interact function. Interact. And what it does this... What is it doing? What does this do? That's the question we have to answer. And that is going to be... It is, yeah, checks whether task is assigned. And not completed. And calls and initiates the UI resources interact function, which I guess we don't have to write down as a thing, but let me just copy this somewhere, I guess. So the UI resource, we have to go back to the 2D view here, and the UI resource is going to be this resource, whatever this is. And here maybe we can see its path. Yeah, this should be maps, tasks, clock set, interact point, what? Interact point clock set dot tres. Wait, is that? Am I looking at the wrong thing here? Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. I have to look at this thing here. Resource is asset map, clock set, interact point, clock set. Wait, what? Interact point, clock set. That does not seem right there. Honestly, this looks not. It does not seem right. It should not be the same resource. I'm quite sure about that. But what it... Yeah, it seems something's not right here. This resource, UI name, UI, it's not the same. It's definitely not the same because this has different things here. This is a UI resource task. But where is that? Is that in the UI directory over there? Tasks, clock set interact task. Is it going to be that? Interact UI. Let me just open this script for a moment here. And let me figure out. So this is interact task. This is also interact task. What is the difference? Both. It's like, are these both the same things? And if yes, why? What's happening here? I don't understand what's going on. Why it's happening over here? Why is interact point and clock set interact task the same thing? And where is the UI related stuff located? Kakmakerb's also extremely confused. Hi, nice. Who? What? I don't know. Someone retracted a message over there called nice. Welcome nice to this stream. So Interact UI, this should be, yeah, so we have Interact UI, and inside Interact UI what am I even, no, don't think, I think I'm looking at the wrong thing here. So interact point clocks. Okay, so now if I just hover my mouse over here, I can read actually that it's maps, test, tasks, clock set, interact point, clock set. Okay. And inside there we have another resource which some reason we are not being told what it is. Let me see how I did it in here. Interact UI. So I use the Interact UI resource here, which maps, tasks, chemical point, chemical what? For this resource, it is I'm here to make a game like that, and I don't know how I can hide players on light occlude or pass them. I just have a tutorial about that somewhere on this channel. It's also very confusing because this is complicated. Because this thing works. So actually this interaction UI works because I can just start the game. Oh, I should be in floating mode. I'm sorry. I should be in floating window mode. So the game, let me just restart it. No, I need to change this for a moment. Okay, this is what I want you to see. So if I just go into the game like this, and so we can see that we have interact point, clock set, task. So this, and this works. So this brings up the UI, and also if I come here, it brings up the UI, and I can manipulate things as I see fit, as you can see here. So this is not a problem. So the UI works, and I can go back and the door is open. So whatever I did works. I just don't understand how. This one also, so the clock works. I can change the time here to, I don't know, 10:24, and you can see that the text here is changed. So whatever is this thing here, it does what it needs to do, but why can't I just interact point camcab.track TRES, I guess. That's interact point, where is that going to be? Oh, maybe I know what is the problem. Probably there are two things that are just named the same but not the same place. So let's just track back a little, because let me just enlarge this portion here so everyone can see what's going on. We have add-ons, OpenSuspect interaction, resources. No, these are just the base interact. So this is where the base interact resources are found. Okay. Common, that's not it's not resources. Map info, so that's not going to be related. And then we have one inside. So this is test. This is the name of our map is test, which is one of the confusing things. And here in task, in clock set, we have interact point clock set. And in the UI task, we have, no, but here we have clock set interact task. And here we have interact point clock set. Okay, what was I editing here? What was I looking? Interact point. Okay, so interact point clock set. That is in maps test something. So that's here. Interact point clock test, and then clock set interact task. That's UI tasks clock set. But this, I think this is the problem, maybe. No? But here, even though, no, this is clock set interact task. Clock set interact task dot gd. Okay. And then here is going to be clock set. And this one does not have, okay, so it does not have a different GD script. It's just a TRES. Is that correct? And the script is just attached to it, and this is the same script is attached to it. But then why do we have two different resources? One located here in the tasks, and one located here in the task in the UI tasks, and one located here in the map tasks. I wish secondary 0 was here and could give me some insight on why am I looking at it from the wrong perspective? Because, or even if this is like totally the intended behavior, and I just don't understand why it is what's it supposed to be doing. But anyways, so things work. So maybe what I should be concentrating on is how this text is interacted with. So this text has a script, which is just have this function called interacted with, and it receives the text or the interact node and the from interact data. So it receives an interact data from somewhere, and then it changes its own text. So maybe that's what I should be focusing on. Instead of trying to understand something that I definitely don't know what's up with that. All right. So this one is going to be the label. And for this label, we know for some reason this clock set text temp is attached to this label, and this is clock text temp.gd. Okay, this one, let me just not worry about this one. So clock text temp.gd, and this does not extend anything. It's just a very simple thing that has this interacted with function, and what it does is changes its text based on the interact data it receives. And then let me put it somewhere over there, maybe. Or I don't know, we don't know where should we put it right now, but what we need to check is where is this interacted with going to be called from? And what will pass this interact data to our script here. Task test. So probably we will just use this interact, right? And this interact will be something. Clock set interact task. These three are all the same, so maybe I can just close this one and this one. And what is going on here? So we call the interact, so interact function. But that's coming from the resource. So here the interact will use the UI resource interact function, and this is where the interact data is coming from. Okay. So this UI resource, whatever this is, maybe I can use the debug mode to figure out whatever this is, because this is what will be where the interact function will be going through, and this contains the interact data, and this is something I think, yeah, this interact data, this looks very similar to interact node from an interact data, and so this one also contains an interact data. Where am I? Not the task manager. Interact point. Interact task. Oh, everything is called very similar. Similar names confuse programmers. Yeah, so there is a from, there is the helper to get task data and interact data, so it's not really the same. What is this UIRS? Can I just use the debugger to figure that out? Let me see if I can just use the debugger. Maybe what I should be doing is I should have where do I put the breakpoint in this UI? Come on, how do I put in a breakpoint over there? Okay, here. Okay, so here, let's just let me put a breakpoint over there. I hope it will work and I don't have to just restart the game again. Yeah, it worked, so now let's see what's going on. All right. First of all, we want to see the debugger down here. And where is my debug steps? Step into. Okay. Is not player assigned. So let's just, this is task complete. So task is not completed. The interact _ interact is empty, so nothing happens there. And now here we are. What is UI _ res? So this is not in locals. Why is it not in locals? Then where is it from? Members. Oh, of course it's not in locals because this is not these functions. This is coming from somewhere else. So UI res object ID 4379. Now that we open object ID 4379 in the right hand side here, what can we see? Nothing. Members 0 UI data. It has the UI data, it has the UI name, so that must be that resource that we inserted over there. Constants open instance update close. UI name, UI data, interact data. Is it? Okay, I think I know what we're missing here. I think I figured it out. So as I just said a few minutes ago, and if you want to, you can check if I really said that in a few minutes ago, that we have the add-on OpenSuspect interaction resources here. So I would guess that maybe this interact UI is going to be this. And this is not customized at all for the different UIs, because we just don't need these to be customized, because this will just open, this will not going to do anything important. We'll just, it's interact, gets the from and interact data. What is this? Is this right? So URL, no, it should have 3 from this data and interact data. It should have 3 things that it receives. And it only receives 2 things from and interact data. And this will just, this is what uses, but this is the thing that uses the UI manager to open the whatever it needs to open. The UI name, it opens the UI name we give. And you can remember that we had on our map here, when I click this is UI name. We have UI name right here. And action, we have all the 4 action types here that we just recently found. So this must be related somehow to this thing, but this interact, yeah, so the action is an exported variable, so that's why we can change it there. Code to execute the interaction this resource is customized for, but alright, so let's go back debugging. That's what we're going to be doing here. We are going to be debugging and figuring out how the interactions happen real time. Back to lobby, start game, and don't freeze please. Interact point clock set is there, so at least we can interact with it. Okay, so let me hide the gameplay here. So now, okay, so we can just try to make this a little easier to read. So let's just skip through these, and then when we get here, we get inside, get my ID, okay, get task data, and then that returns task data. Okay, so this is the task data we get, temp task data, merge the dictionaries, and then we are in the interaction. But how did we get in here from interact data and match value? Okay, this match value is going to be just, so the match value is open, so that's what happened here. And we are back here. No, I don't know. Let's continue. So the clock is open, so let's try again. Let me see one more time. So if I go through here, we have from. That's an object. Okay, we have whatever this will return. Oh, I am so stupid. This is... I just missed. Okay, I am at fault here. I just totally missed this. I totally missed that these two are not separate arguments for the interact. These are the arguments for merge dicts, and whatever merge dicts returns, that is the one thing that is going to be returned. So let's stop the debugging. And we know that this is the interact UI.gd that will receive this interaction and the interaction data. And then we'll open the UI. It should open get interact data. I guess that we'll get the data from reported interact data. Yeah, it's just getting the interact data from there, and the checks for UI data overrides the reported interact data members. What is this doing? Okay, so I just figured out that this is how we pass the UI to the UI manager. Okay, so we passed it to the UI manager. So now I need to open the UI manager and autoload UI manager. And whatever we are doing instance UI or open UI rather, we are doing open UI, and open UI will just emit a signal to open a UI with the data and all these things, and I guess the here what am I looking for, the clock set. Wait, what? The UI, clock set UI, sorry. That the clock set UI, the clock set TSC, and will be opened. And once it's opened, it is it re-gets the resource. What? Get res. But it's opened through a signal, through the OpenUI signal. So where is the OpenUI signal connected? That's what we have to figure out. And for that, we need a huge friggin' terminal. And then grep our W and L, I guess, -E, OpenUI. Maybe it's N? Yeah, it's N. So we need to figure out this is my cursed light themed terminal, as someone already called it. Connect. So UI manager.connect. Okay, UI controller.gd. Emit signal open UI, and this is where we connect in UI controller.gd. Where is that file? UI/UI controller. Okay, makes sense, I guess. UI controller.gd connects OpenUI with self OpenUI. Okay, so I guess it will have an OpenUI function. Menu data is current UI is get UI. Okay, instance UI. So it gets the UI name. That's what I need to figure out. UI list. So we have a UI list which is coming from the UI manager. UI controller and UI manager, what are you doing here? Oh, okay, so this UI list, it contains... Okay, so this is how we know that when we say clock set, we want to load this scene. It looks like the Mac OS terminal. Maybe that's why it's cursed to have it in the bright theme. But URXVT actually original, like if you don't set up anything, it's white background and black text. And I just, I guess, didn't have a problem with that. If I really wanted to do something cursed, I would probably do this. How cursed is this? So even though I personally have nothing against bright themes, this just looks something illegal. Yeah, this is not what I want to look at. I really like this. Look, so this is like nice dark blue background. I like this. Okay, so what should I draw in my drawing here? What are you doing here? So what I need to figure out, this interaction is just going through a very involved process. That's what I'm trying, well, that's what I will try to, let me just, this is, and this was, okay, so we already figured it out, so this is not this is interactui.gd. And this one has the interact function, and that will open so goes through UI manager and UI controller to open the relevant, not UK, UI. That was unintentional. So now we figured that one out, and well, it opens. In the end, it opens the clock set because we have in the UI manager, I guess, which is not the UI controller. Why do we have UI manager and UI controller separately? I have no idea. I don't remember, rather, because we probably had a... So this is what happens when, like, this project really, like, died off in February, and we started picking it up again after I had to move. I had other things to attend to, so it took me half a year to get back into it, and now I forgot everything. So this one opens the relevant thing, which is for us, this is the clock set.tscn. And the get res, so let's just clock set dot tscn, and this has an open function. What does it do? Well, not too surprisingly, yeah, it's opens its gets the resource get res, and this is going to get the resource from the task manager. Okay. And that is, so maybe I'll move you guys down here. And so this is opening that, so let me just add an arrow here. And this gets the resource from the task manager. So task manager has a function called why? No, I wanted to copy and paste here. What's up with that? So task manager has get task resource, which it's a very simple function. It's just going to give the task back from its dictionary. And this needs an arrow. Well, this is actually, we can just put it in the same box because this is not going to cause any more trouble. So let's get rid of this. Let's make it look professional. And once that's done, we got these resources, so that's back to the open, I guess. We check if time's updated. Oh, okay, so we have more signals here. And then we update the UI data, and that will do many things. And check complete. Set watch time. Okay, so that's simple enough. Set clock time, that's also simple enough, but where is the synchronization happening? Get current time and get target time. So get current time is from get res. Okay, so those are all coming from the resources. That makes sense. Sets up the UI based on data in the resource. Okay, so now I think I remember what's going on here. I think it refreshed my memory enough to understand what's going on here. So what's going on here is that we have the task manager, and the task manager is synchronizing everything. So let's just set. So here, if we go and ask the task manager to get the task resource for us, it will just return the relevant element from the task dictionary. That's good. And then what if we change something? So if we have our little clock here, and we have the watch face, that's good. That's just setting up those rectangles, I guess. What I need to figure out, okay, so this one, the value changed, focus entered, and value changed. So when value changed, on hours value changed, and on minutes value changed, we run check complete, and check complete will update current time. And then there's a sync task. So I guess this sync task is what now we have a set current time here, but when is this update current time function called? Oh, it's called at the check complete. Okay, sorry, I missed that. And then this will get the values from the minutes node and the hours node. That's great. And then gets the resource from the task manager and calls the set current time function of that resource. And that is something before I just totally go over and forget everything. Yeah, this is going to be part of the clock set. So we have update current time, and well, actually, yeah, update current time, that's what we really need, but update current time is called when only when check complete. So I guess maybe the check complete is going to be the better, yeah, because check complete is called many times. So this is what's going to happen. So when check complete, then we sync data somehow through the set current time function of the resource. And the resource is this. So this resource has set current time, set task data player value. Why do we have all these very convoluted things? Yeah, set data, set back up. Set task data player value. Set task data player value. What a lovely function name. Exactly. Set. Okay. Set task data player value. Well, this is coming from the thing, what it's inheriting from, and what calls it is actually the set current time. So this is actually makes some sense to call it set current time. And then that will call, okay, so let's get back to that one. Set task data player value, and we got a key value and player ID. Okay, so maybe I have to backtrack here because, oh yeah, it just says current time, it's because it gets the time and it gets the player ID, and then, or rather it doesn't, we did not call clockset.gd. Yeah, we just send the time, but this is, if we don't send anything, then the player ID will be the network that gets my ID, so the current player's ID is going to be passed down as player ID here, and we know that this is the current time. And then set task data player value. Checks is the task registered and is it global. Player ID Global. Okay, so the task, if the task is global, it doesn't matter who did it. We will just use the global task player ID instead, and then just add the task data. Okay, okay. I think I've got it. So because every player, so the task might be, if the task is not global, for every player it will have their own different parameters of operation, their own different states, I guess, their own different yes, states, I guess. But if it's global, if the task is global, then we just store the same thing for everyone. And once we've set it, nothing else happens. So when does it get synchronized from the task manager? Because their thing, sure, it happens. Okay, so let's go back to the debugger. I think I find it much easier to do this. So here we have the update current time function, and we are just going to put a breakpoint over here, and let's just run the game. Let's see what happens after that. So we have the interact point clock set as our own task. So okay, at this point I think we can just let the game run. Oh, because the thing is where are we? Oh no, the game is what? The game is running. What's the problem here? Are we not registered to do this? Why do we step through the comment lines in the debugger? Why do we run through the comment lines in the debugger? Get task state, I don't know what's... Okay, so UI resource. This should happen. Can't I just... Okay, so now we are at update current time. Oh, but the problem is you don't see what I'm doing because of my face. So we are at update current time. Okay, so let's step into this and get task resource. That's going to be very simple. We just get it back. We get it back. Set task data player value. Let me just hide that. Okay, and we have local is time and player ID. And if we jump into this function, well, yeah, because if I do this, maybe you can, my face does not cover everything. I guess much better. I'll just jump into that, and is task registered and is task global? No. Is that not global? And this just gives it the value, and then we jump back and back. And it's not completed. Set clock editable. What is this doing? Just sets it editable. Okay. Check complete. We go through the comment and empty lines. Or received task data. Okay, let's just remove this for a moment. But why didn't this open for me? Okay, let's get rid of all these things. Okay, now it's open. Why didn't it open in the friggin' debugging mode? I don't get it. Okay, now it just looks weird after opening it in debug mode. I don't understand. Oh, now because it didn't. Okay, I get it. But why is the update current time function called this often? Anyways. But is that not a global thing? So if I just come on, why did this suddenly became so weird? Okay, so if I go here, open the task and change the time for 5:58, and wow, something's really broken here. Let me run again. Why is joining the game suddenly screw up everything here? So something's really not working right here. What's going on? If I open a third one, that will solve the problems. Maybe the wrong camera is set to be active. I guess that's possible. This is not looking right. And I don't think I've changed anything with regards to that. How can I do this right? Okay, so we haven't changed anything today. We just checked out the code. So nothing changed. What is this? Let me just restore it to original state. And go to the what? Oh, sorry, git switch main is what I need. And now that we are in the main version, not whatever I was doing. Let's try again. Still... Okay, can someone else test the game if everything's... Why is everything broken for me? Super weird. Is it because I'm using a tiling window manager? Is it because of DWM? This shouldn't affect anything. And yeah, and still it does. So if I just select this, happens on your machine too. Well, when did we bork the game this much? Why did we bork the game this much? Oh damn. Oh, but I forgot to check out the branch and what? Just restore everything and then switch. Why would... Git restore. Okay, so git status. Please move or remove them before you switch branches. The following untracked working tree files would be overwritten by checkout. Can I just... it's a bug or breaking change in Godot because while the code has not changed in months, Godot has. Well, if Godot changed in a way that's... Oh, then someone needs to debug that. Oh, damn. Maybe that's what's causing the game breaking after the second or third retry. No, I want to remove everything. How do I remove these untracked files from here? Do I have to manually just trash them? Git reset? No. Git reset dot? No. This somehow... Okay, so I went back to the main branch. Then I wanted to go back to the chemical cabinet branch, the feature branch I was working on. But that failed because, I don't know, I wanted to connect to GitHub and I Control-C'd it. RootBSD, welcome to the channel. How do I remove untracked files from Git? I will just try to trash. What is geotrash? What is geotrash, right? No, just simply trash. Yeah. So trash sr. I don't want to delete anything. Assets, items, beaker empty, and src assets, items, flask empty. Git reset head. Okay, git reset. No. No, 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 no. What the hell? Something's broken and now I'm at main u -5 for some reason. Git log, decorate, one line, and no global. What? Okay, I don't remember the git log command to make it one line, so where the heck I am? What this says that head is at main. So I'm just gonna git checkout whatever this is. You are in detached head state. You can look around, make experimental changes, and commit them. Did I just break git? Just restore everything. Fatal. You must specify path. Everything. Okay, switch to branch main. Your branch is behind origin/main by 5 commits and can be fast forwarded. Use git pull to update your local branch. Okay, but I need to get rid of these files first. That got somehow okay, why don't I just open a file manager and just go in there and find these files. src assets items, gas burner, iron tripod, large liquid bottle, powder bottle, and small liquid bottle. Just delete these. Okay, git switch chemicals cabinet. Okay, somehow I need to connect to GitHub. Okay. And now if I get back to my file manager and bin and OpenSuspect and src and assets and items, now we have them. Okay. Okay, this 5-minute excursion into Git is over. So maybe Godot broke our game. That sounds scary, because if really Godot broke our game, Now what do? We will have to debug a lot of things, and we lack the human resources to do that if we also want to work on this. But maybe I can today. I can just finish this. I will take a 1 minute break, as I will need to get a cup of water and check my phone for a minute. Okay, I am back. I left my phone on the charger in the other room, and since I moved to an apartment with 2 rooms instead of the 1 room, yeah, I had to check if someone called me in the meantime. And good old 3.3 works fine, and new version does not work fine. Alright, then we will have to check the changelogs and figure out what the hell has gone wrong there. Thank you, Cockmacarp, for the information. Maybe could you please open an issue on GitHub for this, so we don't forget. Thank you. Alright, so and in the meantime I am going back to the test map here. Now that we know that one thing, we don't know one thing, and that how this clock text tmp.gd gets interacted with. And the check complete in the clock set tscn gets data from resource and stores it. Get task this and so that's where check complete. That was we were looking at somewhere. Yeah, check complete here, and this updates current time, which is calling the set current time in whatever this is, set current time, which calls the set task data player value. And that just uses yeah, and that's basically it, because it is part of the because what is happening here, what we don't have displayed here, is that all these resources are also actually inside the task manager. So task manager has an array, or a dictionary probably, that contains all that jazz. All the resources are stored inside the task manager, or rather they have a reference stored in the task manager. And now what I have to figure out is, when does this interacted with get called? And maybe if I can make this work. Yeah, Kakmakar, do your thing, and you can thank you for the contribution until this point, and see you when you come back. So what are we looking at? I mean, I'm looking at something I don't understand. So what I'm looking for is this text label, when is it called? So I will just put a red dot here for the debugger, and I will just, oh no, I forgot to turn on floating mode before I open that. Okay, now turn on floating mode. And let's get into the game. So maybe that's why Moxvalix's thing was not broken, because he was still running it in the latest or the older version when we tested it last week. So interacted with. What called this function? Let's just check in the debugger here. Stack frames. Map manager called it, emit signal interacted with. Broadcast map interaction. Resources, assign task, assign player, and assign player called underscore assign player. Player ID, what? How did we get up to this point? Okay, let's just slowly track through this bullshit. I'm sorry. Interact data. What is interact data here? Interact data is a dictionary, contains all these things like target time, current time, state, new text, is task global. Oh, so it's not a global task. It's turned off. So Kakmakerb, do you know what is the operating system that Moxvalix is running? Because last week Moxvalix did not have the issue in, like, the train camera did not show the outside of the train for him, he said. So maybe I'm thinking maybe that's the same issue, same problem with the update in Godot, and maybe he still has the older version. So where did we come from? Oh, we emitted a signal from interact with. Okay, and why? Because in this, wherever we are, interact map, we interacted with the node. But why did this interact get called? Update map text. Where are we? Interact inherits from interact task. Where are we? This is still something in that clock set interact point clock set resource. Pretty sure he's on Arch, so it should be updated. Maybe he just did not update. I don't know. Update map task after assign player. This is also the clock sets resource. Okay, so what I'm getting here, what the vibe that I'm getting here is that when I close this window, then map manager calls us. A map manager what? So map manager emits the interact signal. And so did we just... Oh yes, because we connected... Okay, I get it now. I get it now. So what's happening is that I just should have looked at this ready function here, which basically map manager sees any interaction, this signal will be connected to our script here, which just check whether the interact node was itself. Hey Joshua Lee, welcome. That's not Rust. No one said it's going to be Rust. What's Rust? Rust is my programming skill, is what is rusty. And welcome, Anonymous. As I saw your chat message, I suddenly got scared that it's a spam because of the emojis and the anonymous name, but well, big fan, thank you very much. You are my first big fan. No one ever said that to me before. And are you in Nepal currently? I have 2 friends from Nepal actually. Well, I haven't heard from them in like 5 years, but I knew 2 people. Rust is the best bad programming language. I don't know. Godot is also quite a good bad programming language. Actually, there are some aspects of Godot I really like compared to Python, especially concerning typing, variable typing and type checking. But okay, so basically what I need to do is doing something very similar like this. For my chemical cabinet. Okay, so what I need to do here is just same thing as it's done with this clock something, is just connect with the map manager, and then also, so why is Rust a bad programming? Why do you put Rust in a bad programming language category? That's what I would like to know in the meantime. And then in the meantime, I also just have so many freaking things open here that let's just close everything else. And let's just open this manually. Okay, and the interacted with function also has to be implemented. And of course, we don't care about text. So it's bad. Every programming language that is not C should be categorized as a bad programming language just because C is the best. Is that what you're suggesting there? Everything, websites included, should be C. So I'm guessing that you are also strictly against object-oriented programming if you chose C instead of C++. And thank you for the nice words, Anonymous. And that should be it, but not just this, because we also need to have a resource, the Interact resource, I guess. How would C websites? I guess you just write. Well, I guess Kakmakar, you can just simply send HTTP sites using C2. I mean, So do we really have... but there is no Interact task resource actually assigned to this. So why would I need that? I don't need that. That's not... I don't need that. What I need is to make sure... Well, actually what I need is just go back to the debugger and just check one more time how do we get to this interacted with function. So I just really love interpreted languages are great because of all the debugging. Everything uses a client. So you want to develop web engine using C, I mean, it's your prerogative. The compiler is the ultimate debugger. I'm sorry, but I prefer to be able to click and see the variables like here. See, you can just hover my mouse here and I can see the interact node is whatever this is. 5, oh, what? Interact node is not self, so it returned. Okay, because there are more interactions than one, what? So now that the interact node is the same as self, as you can see by hovering your mouse over the code. I mean, show me your compiler that does it for you. There's also IDEs that debug C code. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm just pulling your leg. And then receive this text and return to where? So something emitted a signal. What emitted the signal? The map manager emitted the signal. Okay, so it is the map manager and ultimately that emits the signal. I live in Lua. Well, Lua is something I have no idea. Not even close what it's even used for. Right now I'm learning Lisp like it's 1959. Well, if you really want to be old school, you should learn Fortran. That's all my homies learned. Okay, but in the meantime, I'm trying to develop this game. Okay, so the map manager did the interaction because interaction was called from interact map. Where is interact map? Where is interact map.gd? What is that at all? What is it even? What does it even mean? Where was interact map was? Oh, the resource dot interact. Is it called the resource? Has an update map text. Okay, that's something we should know about. And then sync task. From the interact task and sync task in the clock set GD. Okay, so we have a sync task. Okay, let's stop it. Lua is used like Python, but it's fast and not backwards compatible. Alright, so we basically opened every file that took part in opening that. So we know that Map Manager does this, but that's okay. What we actually need to do is to override sync task because in the interact point, blah, 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 what it does is it says that send time, it uses the send times function for syncing tasks. And it does an RPC for received times. And then update map task. Welcome Sabod Campbell. Welcome to the stream. So, what am I even trying to achieve here? I'm trying to achieve, so why send times? Why do keeping a target as input is avoid changing the code? Send times, why do we have an RPC, a task RPC here? Task RPC. Oh, it's okay, so the task RPC is calling the task manager to refresh everything, I guess. YouTube is overcompressing the stream down to 144p. That's not good. It is the Godot editor, so Godot game engine has its own editor. Is everyone looking at the stream at 144p? YouTube tells me that I have an extremely reliable connection to them, but is that connection meter reliable? Yeah, 720p is what I stream at because I believe that everything over 720p is bloat. And I believe that this kind of streams you should be able to watch them on your phone and be able to read whatever I'm doing. These kind of tutorials, you shouldn't have to watch a tutorial on full screen on a 4K TV to be able to see what's going on. Okay, so what we need is the interact task takes care of task RPC, I guess, and also receiving task RPC and all these nice things. But then again, where were we? We were at the send times and then update map text. We call the update map text, which is it calls the interaction on the resource. What is resource? Oh, it's receiving, no, where does the resource come from? Oh, resource from map outputs. Okay, so map outputs, I guess map outputs should be, so if I just try to select this task test here, we have a dictionary, no. Resource, no, where is outputs? Yeah, outputs, map outputs. And here we have an interact. And this interact has the label and interact data is nothing. And okay, so this is what I should have here too on my chemical cabinet thing. Interact, and this should be it should not be the label, it should be the chemical cabinet itself, I guess. Yes, it should be the, no, it should be that chemical, sorry. Should be the chemical cabinet, the round thing. That's because if you want to use Python in a web browser. I don't know. Like you see, the viewers there in the chat have a lot of discussion, which I just totally ignored while looking at the code here. So I added this thing over there, so now I have a task. Or rather, I have the interaction with the chemical cabinet over there. So that should be nice, because then I can just go through do the same thing, update map text, but instead of update map text. And for this one, I need to modify my chemical cabinet TRES, TRES, I guess, and that is, was it just using the interact point? The clock set case. Yeah, both uses the same actual file. I have no idea. I did not. So I did not major in computer science in university. I'm a chemistry major, so I have no idea what classes you should take at chemistry or rather a computer science major. Okay, I am lost. Once again lost, so I figured out one thing, or two maybe. So I figured out that I have to do, and I assigned this chemical cabinet over there. That's nice and all, but I need to figure out. So this interacted with gets the interact map .gd. Joshua Lee went to a trucker school to drive big trucks. Well, I mean, you don't go to a trucker school to drive small trucks, am I right? So the map, okay, so what I need to do, I need to draw this down. I need to go back to the debugger. And just let it fly, let it fly. Once we open this and change the time, and when we close the window, so something happens when we close this window. Well, it turns out I drive a small truck. Yeah, I guess. Micro, what is this game you're making? I'm out of the loop. This is the OpenSuspect social deduction game. which somewhere in the meantime and during development became a, a chemistry lab spy game. So you need to do chemical experiments and someone needs to sabotage the chemical experiment, but we don't have anything yet. Well, we have a few things. We have a few things implemented, but the problem is that the guy who implemented the system that I'm trying to extend now is not in the project anymore. So I'm trying to figure out what the hell was he thinking while doing this. So, okay, so when we go, okay, that's what I need to do. I figured it out. New page. And we are going to draw. Well, sorry. It's Control C and Control V. What? I said Control C and then Control V. Why can't I just copy and paste this from one page to another suddenly? Copy and paste. LibreOffice, don't screw me over. Am I in DWM? Yes, I am in DWM. The only true window manager, I guess. So we are clockset.gd, and that's what we're doing. We go into the sync task. That's also clockset.gd, but it's sync task. I'm waiting for your fork to get pegged in Fedora root. What fork? Just git clone and make install, it's that simple. Yeah, unless if you really want to package your window manager properly for your own system. In DWM, you shouldn't use DWM pre-packaged because you need to change the stuff in it. And no one will have things changed exactly the way you want it. So get res.sync task. So that's going to be interact task.gd's sync task. Okay. Sync task. Yeah, well, you can do the same on Arch, like not just on Gentoo. You can use your package manager in Arch 2 to package DWM for yourself, but it's a little more involved. And I made 2 50-minute long tutorials trying to explain the basic concepts of that. And then I did it in a different way on my own machine, actually, which I think is, I don't know, it's nice, but okay, so we are interact task, and then it calls sync _sync task, which is in the interact point clock set. But those things are actually the same. Interact point not task set, clock set. That is actually inheriting from Interact task, and it has the underscore sync task function. Oh really, you uninstalled Arch after watching my videos. That's nice. I'm happy that it was helpful. Okay, so wait, what? Sync task calls send times, and send times is in the same thing. Okay. ArchWiki make package is so much easier than apt or whatever. Yes, welcome Ian Flynn to the chat. Long time no see. You haven't met Portage. If anyone disses Arch Linux on my chat, I will what's the word I should use? I will report them for hate speech. Update map text. That's also in the same thing. Pacman is a pretty lame package manager. Gentoo is better than Arch. I mean, is it? Is it? Okay, so what happens here is the update map task will call the interact on the resource. But what resource, you might ask? And I will tell you that it's going to be interactMap.gd. Okay. Why isn't Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V working? Okay, now it's working. So what was I doing here? interactMap.gd. Okay, my chat devolved into a distro fight. I'm very proud of this community. Okay, so interact map is called interact map and interact function. I mean, I am not really in Arch because of the minimalism. I mean, I have a Cinnamon desktop installed that I barely use, so I'm not in the minimalist crowd. Arch is okay for noobs, you gotta start somewhere. That's a spirit, I guess. Paru is the best AUR helper. How is that? Okay, so let's fight about AUR helpers. I don't think that anything other than AUR utils makes sense. But I also didn't use anything else but that. Yaourt, I always just think about yogurt, and yogurt is much better than yaourt. I think Yay is not good because it abstracts away the package manager and pretends that packages in the repositories and things in the AU are all the same. They are not the same. Yeah, actually Git and make package is the best, but what I like the thing about AR utils is that it's not pretending to it does not pretend that the AUR stuff are packages. It's a manager to create packages from the AUR, and then you use pacman to install the packages that AUR utils made. And so this is map manager interact with. How did we get into map manager interact with? Oh, okay, so interact from interact map.gd will call map manager. What the and in map manager we call what function? Interact with. Okay, so this is something, definitely. Learn to compile your code, kids. Yeah, but why when I can just use the the package build that I can put all the compiler stuff in there, and then it will make a package, and then pacman will take care of everything else. And then this emits a signal of interacted with. Okay, so this is, I have to write down this here. Because this signal will be picked up by the final destination of... Oh, I've got an incoming phone call. I think I will have to... I have to deal with that. I will be back in 5 minutes. Discuss, or I don't know, conclude your discussion about AUR helpers in the meantime. I'll be back. Alright, I am back. Did you resolve the final question about the, what is it? The AUR helpers? In the meantime, I draw this. Good night, Josh, and thanks for coming. Arch Linux is a bad distro, too small repositories. Yeah, I guess so. I tried to fight someone on this one, but they were right, so I lost the fight. Which is sad, because I really thought that Arch Linux is really good and has a lot of stuff in the repos. Well, I guess it's only when you compare it to like Void Linux. So now that I can just stop this debugging process, because I draw everything down, I guess. So there should be something very similar in my chemical cabinet structure also. So if I open the clock set UI, tasks and clock set. So now here comes the action, I guess, which is trying to make things work now. So this one Why is this pointer here? This we have a. Okay, let's just blah blah blah. Let me glow back. Glow back. Let me glow. Let me go back here. So on pop-up hide, that's when we do a sync task, right? And that's not here, that's here. Pop-up hide does a sync task. Sync task. I cannot speak anymore. And that's what we need to do. Let me open the chemical cabinet UI. Great chemical cabinet UI. What a beauty. Did it last week and 2 weeks ago. Pop-up hide. And there is what? No on pop-up hide. That's not good. We need, but okay. So chemical cabinet. Why do you have this disconnect? Go away. We need a new function for this, which is going to be chemical cabinet pop-up hide. Much better. And we need to do is we need to do just sync task. We're just going to sync task. Do we have a sync task here? Yes, we do. But will this work? In a clock set case, we also don't do anything else, but get res. What does get res do here? It returns the task manager get UI data task ID key. I think, yeah, I just copied that already before. So that should do it. All right. Then I shouldn't be using my mouse and DWM. I don't know what I'm thinking. So this sync task will finally call the interact tasks sync task. Sure enough, because it will get res and then sync task. But what is the task resource on this? That's the question, isn't it? Well, GDScript, isn't it like, is it Lua-like? I thought it's more Python-like, but maybe because I don't know Lua, I only know Python. Yeah, but it doesn't say def, it says func. Func, it says func instead of def, so I guess it's not like Python. Get res. So what is going to be my resource here? Well, the resource, what's the resource? That's only the task manager knows that. Get task resource. But I guess the task manager just stores whatever is on here. Wait, so here the interact task.gd, I guess it's probably going to be interact point clock set. Oh, it's interact point clock set for us here. So interact point camcab and the interact point camcab. That's our thing, and like yes, what we need here is we need. So it's also coming from, so that one, a sync task is going to be an interact task. That's simple enough, and this will call the sync task of the underscore sync task here. But here we are in a chemical cabinet. We don't have times. We shouldn't have target time and things like that, because this is a chemical cabinet. It's not a clock anymore. Lua and Python Luton. Or Lua and Python, or Python and Lua Pua. That's, both are good. Lua uses the function keyword. Alright, then it's probably more like Lua. indentations instead of curly brackets, or curly braces rather. That's what I can tell about it. So we don't have, why? We shouldn't have send times and receive times because we don't have times in a chemical cabinet, do we? We don't have random times. Get task data player value. What we need to do here is just, we don't have any targets. We just have a door that's open or closed. That's this, of course, this cabinet will contain objects inside it, but first we have to implement the doors closing and opening. Let me just check for a moment if, like, the stream is running, right? Is the stream working well? Yeah, you can make, there is a 3D editor in Godot, but it's just empty because we only use the 2D one. Okay, so what, instead of set current time and get current time, what we need is set door and get door. Much better. And it will going to be door. Door. And instead of time, what is time? Time does not exist here. Status. Time has been invented by watchmakers so they can sell more watches. Can I sing? No, I cannot sing. I definitely cannot sing. That would be bad. If I started singing, you could probably, you know, call the police for crime against humanity. Okay, so door set task. Okay, that's fine and all. Update map text. We don't have text on the map. Receive times and send times. We don't have times. Let's just send status and receive status. And we don't have target, we just have door, and that's boolean. And we will have other things here, like what's in the closet, what's left in the closet. That's probably going to be somewhere here. But let's just handle this first. The method getTargetTime isn't declared in the current class, of course, because it does not exist. This task can never be completed because there is no completion for this task. It's just to give you objects, so it's just going to always return false. How nice is that? Okay, RootBSD, I guess it's very late for you too, so good night, and thanks for coming and thanks for chatting. I always enjoy good company here. And so, assign player. So when it's assigned, okay, let me switch off the heater. It's getting warm. Like I have floor heating, which is really neat. Koreans really like floor heating. They used it since ancient times, I guess. And it's really nice that I just put down my feet on the ground and it's just warm. Anyways, so what am I doing? When it's assigned, if target time in data, set target time, but we don't have target time. We don't have any target here because this is not something that can be completed. But also, this also does not make sense because the door should always start closed, but maybe, you know, door, let's just call it door. We always just call it door. If door in data, then set door. Instead, set door data door, and what else? So set door, oh, everything, the player ID is going to be just, it has a default value. Sync task is going to be send status. Too few arguments for send status. Yes, sure, but where do I store data? What is receive times? We don't have receive times anymore. We have receive status. Where should I store the door? Should I just store it somewhere, or do I get it? So I receive status, set task data player value door, get task data player value door. Do I just use this function? So in the interact point clock set, what is this we are looking at here? We are looking at the send status. How does the send status work here? Send times get target time. So get target time, yeah, we just use the same thing. Get door. And now that this is solved, then dict new text. So get task data. Dict door. It's going to be get door. Generate. Okay, so we don't have these, we don't need these. We will know that the door is closed, so data door equals false. Identifier target isn't declared. How does this work? Receive status, I need receive status here, and just door. The identifier current isn't declared. Yes, because we just do set door instead. Emit signal door changed. Get target times, now we just get door. We just get door, and that's it. the identifier time. Yeah, because we don't have time. We have status. Oh, Kakmakarp, thank you for coming, and see you next time. So hopefully, I don't know how long of this stream have been going on. Is it like 2 hours? So it's time that I actually yeah, actually show something up for the time we've spent here. But it's going to be, I did not want to do all this on screen, but whatever. It took a long time to figure out the mechanism. So now that we have door and door status and door changed, we have a signal called door changed. So that's what we should call the signal here, door changed, door status, and the task res. Emit signal, door changed, get door, and self. Yes. Yes. And now, what I need to figure out is that in this case, we had an update map text which did an interact, but that was changed to oh, it has not been changed yet, so it's update cabinet sprite, I guess that's what it should be called. Yes. Okay. Update cabinet sprite has been done. Get task data and resource interact attached to and alright. All these things seem reasonable. And then this we're going to interact map.gd and interact, which is just going to do this map manager thing, interact with. And the map manager will interact the signal, will emit the signal of interacted with from an interact data, and this signal will have to be cached by the clockTextTemp.gd. So in that case, that will have to be cached by this. Yes, so connect interacted with, self interacted with. Yeah, door status, interact data has door status. Okay, so I guess what we should be doing instead is that cabinet, not the UI, but this one has is going to door and the status. So yeah, I guess it's just a boolean. It's just going to be door and boolean. So let me just change this once again. It's just going to be door and because it's just a boolean, and we can just do if and else. And if the question is, so we emit this door change signal here, but we also have an emit signal times updated. What catches the times updated signal? Let's go back to my grep command here. And times updated, what catches this signal? Wow. Okay, I should have saved everything. What did we change here? I don't know even. Let's just try again. So clock set GD will... Okay, so that's... Why is the cam cabinet indirect task still have an emit signal times updated? What is this? UI tasks chemical cabinet task.dg. Yeah, okay, so this is something I have not yet touched, I guess. Chemical cabinet UI, yeah. This should not have this. Okay, so chemical cabinet should not be connected to the times updated. It should be connected to, wait, signal door changed, right? Yes, we need the signal door changed. And there is no function that's actually called. So it's times updated, but there is no times updated in the cabinet UI. Thing. I guess then what we should be doing is we should have a function that that closes the doors, and then we should have a function that opens the doors, and this one should be the door opening, and the door closing is the opposite of this. So this is going to be true and this is going to be false, and we need the signal. So we have a door changed signal func door change, or maybe just what do? We send, oh no, we send only No, we just tell door status and the task res. So maybe this should be just if status door open and else door close. Makes sense. Okay, so here what we did here in the clock set is the times updated is actually here, and does UI data updated. What does UI data updated do here? It sets, okay, the clock time and the watch time. So maybe the set UI or UI data updated. Do we need this? I'm not sure. Let's save everything. Let's clear this. Oh, I don't need to clear because I did less. Great. So now we have a few more chemical cabinet related things with this times updated thing. Clock set interacts task emits signals. Okay. Asset maps, tasks, chemical cabinet, interact point, cam. Okay, I need to find this. Task, chemical cabinet, interact point, camcab.trace. And where to? I have isn't this chemical cabinet? Isn't it the same? Task, chemical cabinet, interact point, camcab. Task, chemical cabinet, interact point, camcab. This is the same, and this is as grep says that we have line 49. Yeah, why isn't this saved? Okay, I guess okay, so we removed a lot of things that didn't make sense. Oh no, what? Okay, now it's in the UI tasks. Okay, that's better. So these are all in the UI slash tasks. Chemical cabinet slash chemical cabinet task GD and also the trace. Yeah, there is no such thing as time in here, so UI chemical cabinet interact task, yes, and this one has times. But didn't we just change something very similar to this? This is this, does it make any sense? So I have this interact point cam, this thing. And yeah, this one. This is going to be get door. No string in here. So I think this is the same. Can I just delete that? Why do we have this here at all? Okay, I will try to just remove this. Remove the selected files from the project, cannot be undone. Yeah, I can undo it later using git, so I don't mind. Because that just doesn't make sense. I don't see how that file made any sense. Didn't I just close this? Didn't okay, let me just get rid of. Save, yes, save. What? Did I just start Audacity in accidentally? UI task cabinet. Okay, so now we are closer to our goal, which is chemical cabinet UI. Let's emit. There's no signal emitted here though. Oh, it's connected with door change, door change. Okay, so this, save it. Why can grep still see that though? Chemical cabinet, cabinet task, cabinet, camcab interact task.gd. What is that file? Camcab. Didn't I just... Oh, I did not delete this GD file, I guess. Okay. Okay, so now that I finally got rid of all of that, now let me just see what emits the signal of times updated. And that is going to be the clock set interact task. Signal times updated. Okay, so what we need is the interact task for the camcab. Signal door changed, that's good. And where do we emit signals? Time updated and clock set interact task. So let me just open the clock set interact task. Times updated are emitted here, received times. What is the analogous thing to that in here? That's going to be received status emit signal door changed. Okay, that's done. And what's connected to the signal of time updated? Connect time updated says clockset.gd. So that's this. So here we have our door changed connected and door changed. Yeah, it's seems to be working, or seems to be set up properly, I guess. I don't know if it seems to be working right now, but this thing so here what we do is in the interact point clock set, which is the analog for that is this, what we do is sync task which is going to send status and that's going to be update cabinet sprite and then update cabinet sprite. We'll get the task data and do the interact on the resource, which is the interact map.gd. That one we don't have to do anything because it will just get the node from the map manager, do the interaction. The map manager will emit the interacted with signal, and then the clock text that's going to be analogous to this chemical cabinet here will receive the signal or connect the interacted with signal and check. Okay. Will the game crash now? Like it. What? No, it actually did not crash. Just loaded for a million years. Okay, this is where it crashed. No, it's not crashed, it's at a breakpoint. Alright. Chemical cabinet. Let's open the door. This, for some reason, does not work yet. But we did not break the game. That's something. Now I have to figure out. I guess because when I open the door, something should happen. So when I open this door, it seems like the stream quality suddenly dropped significantly. I don't want to finish this stream without actually achieving anything, so that's why I'm just hanging on. Something is not working. What is it that's not working? How bad is the stream quality? Let me ask that. Is the stream quality nice enough? So what I suspect here is that whenever this door opening is happening, we should send that information. Right? So what's not happening is that when we open the door, we just don't do anything, because in the clock case, once when do we call the sync task? Clock set pop-up hide, we call the sync task. We never call any sync task in this one, right? So that's the problem. We should be on chemical cabinet pop-up hide, we should call sync tasks. Maybe I should also call sync task whenever my door handles open the door. So I will just put a sync the breakpoint over there, and let's debug. Come on. Okay, debugger opened up here. So sync task. I guess what's not being done here is that we do not. What the hell is going on? Stop. Something's really wacky happening here. Let me just close Godot. And git status, I guess. And git diff. I deleted 2 files, that's okay. And then we changed the times of the door changed, and added all the door changes. Door open and sync task. Okay, so I think let me just go back to Open Godot. And I think the problem is maybe in the task UI, because in the clock set case, let's take a look at the this code looks like Python. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming and have a good day. And I think maybe I will just publish a short video of things working if I manage to make them work today, which I really want to. But I think I'm just only missing one small thing. And that should be something, because in this clock set somewhere, yeah, we have to use our, yeah, we don't communicate. We need to send the resource. We need to use the resource to send the data. I need this. I need this in the chemical cabinet. I'm almost done. I'm quite sure that I'm only missing something really minor here. Function getters already exists. Oh, then I guess I was just not using it. Sorry, I am being dumb here. But I don't, but I call it getRes.syncTest. But we can, this task is never completed. Can complete task, and it's always going to be false for the chemical something. Where did that go? Maps, test, tasks, chemical cabinet, and TSCN, and no, I want this, the why do we have haven't I just changed all this code? So is the issue that Godot actually never saved this file, this changed file? This is Godot. This is the Godot game engine. And now I'm totally lost, because I just changed this whole friggin' file and it did not get saved. Or what happened here? So if I just do this and check git status. Okay, now it's changed. What the hell happened? Okay, this is disaster. This is a real disaster because I just changed this whole function 30 minutes ago. To be working, because this is like, I just copied this function previously as a placeholder. And now it's now working. Okay, now if I save it again and I say git diff src assets maps test tasks chemical cabinet no, the interact, I need the interact. See, it did not register any other change, only that one that I have added previously. Even if I press save time and time again. Okay, something is not right here. I just did this. I did this whole thing and it's not saved. But if I close, now ask me if I want to save. Yes, save it please. Now, and these changes are not saved. Okay. Okay, I am leaving. I cannot fight against the... I just cannot fight against the IDE. It's... What the hell? But the thing is, if as long as I'm opening it from the IDE, it seems like it's changed because all the errors are here because of me deleting all the other functions. But once I close Godot, no, go away. Once I open Godot again, and I go back to the same assets, maps, test, tasks, chemical cabinets, and TRES, and open this, only that changes, only that one change have been. The first time I saved it, that's the only thing that actually got saved. So I'm just going to very quickly try again. And just it's always going to be false. Now there is going to be door. There is no set target time, but there is set door status. And data will be door. there is no send times, or there is send times, but there is no get target time and get current time, just only one thing, and that's get door status. And send times, there won't be send times because only send status and receive status will be. This will be receive cabinet status, I guess. What was it before? Receive times. So this is receive. Okay, so let's make it receive cabinet status. Send cabinet status. And the only thing will be door, which is a boolean. It will be cabinet door. So there is no send times because only send cabinet status. Get door status, yes. This will be false, so the door will be closed in the beginning always. Task RPC will have only door and clear ID. Set current. There is no such thing as a set current time, but we have set door status. We have get door status and nothing else. And the networked function will be receive cabinet status. Okay, now if I save this, did the changes actually appear? Okay, now these changes have appeared, and I think that was the issue there. So now if I start the game, maybe let's first switch to floating mode before we start the game. Yeah, the blob is broken because Godot have been updated and... Oh, we don't have the... Let's go back one more time. Oh, why? Why don't you... Okay, now chemical cabinet is active, so let's open it. And now we are at a breakpoint, so I'll just run this through. What is... Okay, so the door's still not open. Something's still missing. And that is that I never send the actual door status to the function. Not function, the resource. So when I open the door, in that case, the sync task should be done, and when sync task is done, get res sync task. That will be this, the sync task here. It's not getting called, I guess. Okay, so that's why I need to do it in the debugger, though, which I could have done. But create game, sorry. Come on, start game. We need chemical is available, so let's do it. And when I open the door, come on, open it. Great, and now we are in the debugger. So we are at sync task. So let's go into the sync task here. Get resource. So this is the resource we get. Does task exist? Return task dict. Task ID. So task ID is that, and task dict. Okay, let me just. So we need task ID is 279 something something. Dictionary. Door. We have a door, but it's null for some reason. That's interesting. And we should easily add checks later. Okay, so this steps into and then send cabinet status, get door status. So what is the get door status gonna do? Get door oh my, I am lost here in this. Get clear task data G. And then we have to step through all the comments here. Yeah, this is not working because something is still missing. In the clock set case, what we do is we actually use the get current time. That's one thing. But I guess we probably use the set. Yeah, we set current time on that. That makes sense. When do we call update current time? So set current time, is this the only time it's being called? Yes. So update current time is being called by check complete, and check complete is being called by many things. So update current time. This is something similar we have to do in the chemical cabinet UI. And that is not, of course, that is we need a different. So we'll make it true because we opened the door, but that's when the function is called set door status. And is this the only thing that I needed to do? Come on, work. Oh, I don't have a chemical cabinet as task. Now I do have. Let me open the doors. Come on, open it. Let it run, close, and it's still not working. Or yeah, it's still not working for some reason. Set door status true does not do anything. Why is that? Okay, let's see the debugger. Need to jump into this. Well, not, I don't need to jump into this. I need to jump into set door status. Door is boolean, is true. Door true, player ID, alright. So stat, task, data, player value. We're jumping into this. It's not true, so we will task data player, player ID, key, value. Okay, so that's happened, and then sync task is going to happen. Down. I screwed it up. I screwed it up because I didn't jump into the sync function. The thing is, what I don't understand is actually one of the things I don't understand is why the hell where am I? Why the hell is okay? So when let's take a step back. Maybe I will have to come back to this later because now I'm just totally out of ideas. I really am. I really am totally out of ideas. So once generate player task data. Get door status. emit signal cabinet door. And the cabinet door signal is, I don't know what picks up the cabinet door signal. Nothing. That's not good. Because in the clock set case, for the clock set case, we have a signal times updated, and the times updated is picked up connected and picked up at the clock set GD. Why don't we have the chemical cabinet GD? No, not this one. The UI. Yeah, the door changed. And yeah, this should be cabinet door rather than door changed. That's okay, but this is not going to be the important thing. The important thing is, let's run and let's just go back to the debugger once more. Now we get into this function, set door status. Will give us something. It gives us okay, and then set door status. We need to go to, so door is true, so we are going to get into this set text, yeah. And this is not global task, so we just write it into the task data player ID point, and then we have to jump into the sync task and then get res sync task. So we get the result, and then we jump into the underscore sync test, and then send cabinet status. Now we are get door status. Get task data player value, so that's what I need to get. And the key is door. Player ID is 1. It's not a global task, so we just get the get player task data with the player ID. Task data player. What does this contain? Oh well, my info is the dictionary with size 8. It contains task test, task output is task global, door on. Okay, so that's nice. Get player task data, player ID. What does it do? It will return nothing. Great. So data is just merges the two together. So now we have data which is the same as info because we just merged nothing into data. And now we return data. So data contains all these things, including that the door is open. And the key is door, so you can return the getPlayerTask and the key is door. Okay, so when we jump into this getPlayerTask data, we do this once again, and the data is the same as always. It contains door. That's good. So return it. Okay, get my ID, that's no problem here. Send cabinet status. Door, it's true. Great. Task is registered and no, not global, so we just RPC it as door and here and task RPC. So I guess we should jump into this. Task RPC, get task resource, task ID, I don't. So we got a result, which is a resource. You go receive task RPC, which is great, which happens. We get task resource, which is not null. This task resource is actually something which contains custom properties, interact UI, interact map, map outputs. It contains the object, map output. So we send it to receive the task RPC function, receive cabinet status, and arguments, which is true and 1. Yeah, true, the door is true and the 1 is the player number. So let's get into this one. Not function, in network function then return, but it's going to be a network function. Sender is 1, RPC mode is 1 is valid sender. No. It's not a valid sender. That's interesting. So now we're just coming back to here. So maybe because we sent it to ourselves, so that's why it's not happening. Update map text player 1 ID 1. So what is this? Temp interact data. Huh. Something was not right here. But I don't know what. So I'll just... And it's getting dark. Oh my, it got really dark. I didn't even realize just going through this debugger. Okay, so the thing is, I have no idea what the problem is. My guess is that there is some issue. Update map text. This looks suspect to me. With map outputs on resource, because this is the one that should do the interaction. Yeah, so I think that this is the point where I should be looking at next time to debug this, but this is really going to be next time. I've already spent too much time looking at this code and I am not getting any smarter. So I will take a look at it with fresh eyes next time, which probably next week, but you never know. And I will see you then. There will be probably other content in the meantime, so just keep on checking the channel and I will see you then. Bye bye. And thanks for watching, of course.